y'all, Scott here. Jury duty? I don't have time for that. What if something happens when I'm away? What if I'm summoned for jury duty? I can't risk missing that. The only way I can even imagine getting out of this is to plead ignorance by reason of insanity. So if I can degrade my mental health just enough over the next 2 hours, they might let me off the hook. And here, take a look at the quote on this motivational poster. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. I think I found it. The quickest pathway to insanity. Chronic substance abuse. Lego games.
It must be hard to be a parent. I mean, for starters, squirting those kids out. I mean, you must be like, ugh, you know? But then you have to mull over every single last item you give the damn thing. What's appropriate food to give the kid? Appropriate books, movies, toys, video games. Though, eventually, you get the gist. Kirby good? Bush Light, no. However, I have to admit, a logo indicator that this is safe for something with tonsils would do wonders. And I ain't talking about that. What does the E stand for?
Ew.
I want something a little more obvious, something that screams, I'm family fun. Like, what the hell is this? The Lego Movie video game? Oh! This logo right here not only represents one of the biggest toy brands of all time, but an endless supply of video games that many families can depend on to supply them with consistent entertainment anybody can enjoy while tying into licensed properties everybody knows about. And I ain't talking Mega Bloks, I'm talking Lego. You know Lego. Lego. There's just something special about Legos, man. Everybody's had experience with them. I mean, fresh out the womb, they hand you Lego Duplos. And those were great. I made so many things out of them. Towers, pillars, upright sticks. But eventually, you get older. You want to have an easier time choking to death. And that's where the traditional bricks come into play. And these, you can build anything out of them. As a kid, I had this Lego table. You had the top with this huge Lego base you could snap bricks onto, and underneath were drawers you could store your Legos in. And this was like my command center back then. I'd build little towns and then bring in completely separate toy lines to wreak havoc. These moments in particular never really stood out to me until, well, this very moment, as I'm realizing how instrumental Lego was in my development of creative skills as a child. Turning this dirty sack of geometry into this. I mean, that's impressive. And hey, regardless of your Lego skills, the end result is always satisfying. You can make the greatest, most wonderfully detailed Lego creation of all time, and that's incredible. Or if you're not nearly as adept, just finding scraps that can sort of make what you want force you to use your imagination in such a special way. Look, I made a brick. I was never immensely into Legos as a kid, and primarily just played around with that filthy drawer of random pieces. Oh, didn't dabble in any of the elaborate sets or any of the licensed products, just pure Lego when I was bored. But I respected the hell out of this brand, and eventually in my adult years, I only got way more into the unique kits. I mean, look at this Manchester Stadium, a functioning piano. Not only are these really cool, it's oddly therapeutic to just follow the directions and snap these bricks together. And it's because of that and everything else, I'd say Lego is genuinely one of the greatest toy lines to ever exist. I just think it was missing something for me as a kid if it took me this long to realize. Maybe I needed Lego to take that next big step into a new medium, really push the boundaries of what Lego could be, and I think I now know what I wanted.
Lego the Hobbit for 3DS!
Lego video games! The only way I can live out my wildest fantasy. Feels like everybody's had a run-in with Lego games at one point or another because they were everywhere. Multiple games a year in collaboration with dozens of franchises. What, you're just gonna let them do this without dipping your toes in at least once? You should be studied. Now, where did this iconic video game lineage begin? Exactly where you think it would start. If your answer was I don't know where it would start, you're correct. From 1995, exclusively released in Japan, this is Lego Fun to Build for the Sega Pico. What the f just came out of my mouth?
No, seriously.
The Sega Pico was an educational game console combining video games with storybooks. For what it is, I mean, It is. Pretty crazy how this is a legitimate Sega video game console that's illegitimate to many just because it cares about my brain.
There's a letter H?
So of course, when this is the console the first LEGO video game calls home, my lust to see the origins of LEGO Fortnite is dashed. But hey, let's give it a fair chance.
I was being fair.
The Sega Pico is so close to being kinda cool. I mean, look at this. You insert the book, the screen will change depending on the page you turn to. Can hover a cursor around with the stylus. For an educational game console aimed at toddlers in the mid-90s, this works damn well, much like my new soundboard.
Who gives a f? Who gives a f? Who gives a f?
Yeah, who would have thought the toy for 3-year-olds isn't holding my interest? Which, it's a shame such a massive video game lineage started here. But hey, LEGO Fun to Build is undeniably faithful to the source material. You build a LEGO vehicle, you play a game with it, much like playing with LEGOs in real life. Why not just do that? Especially when Fun to Build blocks you off from doing anything remotely creative with your vehicle. Oh, this is bullshit. At the very end, we do have a free build mode, but it doesn't stop this from feeling like a complete waste of time. Yes, this follows the ethos of LEGO, but the way it plays out, you just end up asking, what's the point here? Turning playing LEGOs into a video game is a sound concept, but you need to take things further than just... What even is this?
A bad video game.
Well, that's where LEGO Island for PC comes into the picture. This wasn't the first LEGO game. It was the first LEGO game. This is like the perfect representation of LEGO in the video game space. I mean, a 3D open world where you explore an island, build vehicles, be a witness. It all comes together to create a legendary game for kids of the era. Now, for a 27-year-old at this very moment,
What the hell am I doing?
this is definitely one of those you had to be there type of games, which not sure how much anybody can really dispute that. You're telling me you hand this to somebody who never played it as a kid and they'll go, oh yeah, sure, let me just gorge myself on that. You can tell while playing how magical this was for kids. I mean, just click on any LEGO figure walking around. It'll change their appearance. You can build a helicopter and fly around the whole island. You can deliver pizza. You can witness an exorcism. You can jet ski. This is exactly what playing with LEGO, toys in general, is like. Like, hey, just roam around, make your own adventure. Here's a few directed activities to partake in, but for the most part, the fun of LEGO Island comes from making it yourself. Explore the world, make voices for all the characters, and through the eyes of childlike wonder and whimsy, use your imagination to craft limitless possibilities in this perfect virtual playground. How many games until LEGO Star Wars? Jesus. The early PC era of LEGO video games is all over the place. Like, what is this?
Hello, welcome to LEGO Friends.
Lego chess?
At the time, LEGO was attempting an invasion on the video game industry. Multiple LEGO-themed games in a variety of genres, all by different developers. I mean, video game software was hitting it big, especially with kids. There was some fear that traditional toys were old news. So, if you can't beat them, join them. While LEGO Island was the first of these ventures, it also has the most heart as they genuinely asked themselves, what would a LEGO video game be like? Oh, well, it would be a sandbox game because that's what LEGO's all about, but also have an adventure element with some missions to complete because you have the more instructional and direct LEGO sets out there. Oh, and the mission should be vehicle-based because, yeah, LEGO, and it should be customizable and goofy and weird, and through the power of video games, adhere to the demands and give us the first-person perspective of a LEGO minifigure. This game was eye-opening and laid the foundation for what a LEGO video game could and should be. LEGO chess is LEGO chess. Most of what followed was a bit more cut and dry. Like LEGO Creator, for example. That's definitely a pretty solid adaptation of the LEGO building experience, but that's all it is. It's got some of the personality from LEGO Island, like the Wizard Man himself.
Hi, welcome to LEGO Creator. To learn how to build LEGO worlds, click on the button below with me on it.
voiced by my plumber.
But it's basically just a virtual Lego construction kit. It has its place for sure, but what else is there to say about this alongside all these other early titles? They're pretty much insert game here, the Lego version. Lego Loco is like Sim City. Lego Land is like Roller Coaster Tycoon. Lego Racers is like Mario Kart. Lego Rock Raiders is like Dungeon Keeper. Lego Friends is like...
Hello, welcome to Lego Friends.
This weird dream I had last night? This has nothing to do with Lego. What the hell is this?
See, nowadays, there's the Lego Friends line, which first time I saw this was the Nintendo 3DS game in 2014, and I thought, that isn't Lego, these aren't my friends. But even though they didn't look the Lego part, I later discovered the toys this was based on and grew to accept it. Life sucks, this makes sense. And it was a huge success. So many children were shouting, I want Lego Friends, which just makes me think some kids are gonna have one f***ed up Christmas. But this line didn't launch until 2012. This game released in 1999. It's not based on anything. Why did this have the Lego name? There was nothing Lego about this. No toys this was based on. Hell, no toys for 13 years. What even is a Lego video game at this point? Because this early on, we've already discovered it being based around Lego isn't a requirement. Anything can be a Lego game, which is why I'm having the damnedest time figuring out what to talk about next. There's not a ton of cohesion between most of these titles outside of the family-friendly Lego aesthetic and goofy humor, but to be fair, Lego is such a broad thing that while these games don't feel like they're from the same series, they do feel like they all understand the same Lego vibe. But if we do want to stay true to the brand, Lego is so much more than just original concepts like ripping off other games. So we have the very first Lego game based on a licensed property. Oh boy, time to give up. Lego creator Harry Potter, oh my god.
Jaundice.
Yeah, this is just another version of Lego Creator, but now it's themed around... I'm stumped. Kinda jarring to see the traditional Lego yellow skin used on licensed characters, as that ain't the case anymore. But regardless, this was an important step for Lego video games to take, because what was to follow 4 years later really mattered. Until then, the Brickster's back! Lego Island 2, The Brickster's Revenge. Developed by a completely different team, as the original Lego Island developers were all fired so their boss didn't have to pay them their bonuses.
Yeah, I didn't want to work out today, and to make sure I didn't, I just drank a bunch of rat poison.
So there's lots of changes now. We're no longer POV, life is hell. We're in the third person and on PlayStation. Well, hot damn, I'm sold. What are the cons?
Well, at least it's in third person and on PlayStation.
I mean, the original Lego Island wasn't a great game, but it was a great kids game. And this, it's just a kids game. This takes everything that made the original feel special and just rips it all away, and it's kind of hard to explain how. Has a far greater emphasis on the plot, which is just awful. Who cares about any of this? Do you pick this up and go, how? Game is constantly interrupted by boring missions, bad voice acting, long load times. Like, come on, I just want to dick around on Lego Island. But even when I do that, it's just not as fun here. This game just doesn't feel natural as a sandbox game. I don't know, the switch to third person kind of makes the world feel smaller. Controls can be rough at times. You don't build any vehicles, and also, it's 2001 now. The PlayStation 2 is out. Grand Theft Auto 3 launched. Looking back at this in retrospect, doesn't feel as groundbreaking as the original did, being a 3D open-world sandbox game from 1997. That alone makes the first game more enjoyable than this. Now, does that make Lego Island 2 a bad game?
I don't care.
Lego themselves published most of these games, but it was around this time they were suffering from financial problems. And I don't think any of their mid-2000s video game releases helped them one bit. Electronic Arts stepped in to help publish Lego games at the time, and what we got here mostly consisted of sequels and shame. The third Lego Island game, Island Extreme Stunts. Where the hell did they get rid of the Lego name? A couple of the titles they released around this time did that. Was the Lego name really that embarrassing? Oh, people won't buy this if it's Lego. But who's picking this up going,
What is this, Shrinky Dinks?
this is fine. Like, I prefer playing this to Lego Island 2, but it feels more like a spin-off, a weird side thing, laser focused on filming badass stunts. Maybe that's why they didn't want the Lego name on this.
Hey, what's up, Internet? I'm about to pull a stunt in honor of my mentor, Lego Island Extreme Stunts. I'm gonna go bathe.
At least everything looks and feels a hell of a lot better now, mostly thanks to the upgraded horsepower on the PlayStation 2. So what does that mean for Lego Racers 2?
Nothing!
You know, a lot of early PS2 games just feel like smoother PS1 games. I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone when I'm playing this. Like, where am I? Just one of the many reasons I think Lego Racers 1 is the more rock-solid experience. I mean, it's just a basic kart racer with customizable Lego elements, but that's all it really needed to be at the time. In comparison, Lego Racers 2 tries to innovate. Oh boy, let the future know it all started here.
You son of a bitch.
This game is so damn boring. It all comes down to the tracks. You have these big open areas to explore in the adventure mode, and the courses, they're just sectioned off versions of the open world. These are too big and broad to really feel like meticulously designed racetracks. The vehicle builder is genuinely pretty in-depth for 2001. Well, you don't follow specific guidelines, you can literally do anything here. Thank God. I still find the original to be better. But what does that mean for Lego Racers 3?
I'm illiterate.
Drome Racers! Yeah, this was a line of badass racing toys by Lego, and thus, this is considered Lego Racers 3. And I'm considered a fan of Drome Racers. We also have Soccer Main... Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, they were desperately running away from the Lego branding in this era. Can't even name a game Lego Soccer anymore. What has our country become? Lego was not only suffering financially, but they were genuinely thinking that the only way forward was to ditch the bricks and be cool. Case in point, Galador, also known as What's Galador? An attempt by Lego to get as close to bankruptcy as possible. Whenever something is envisioned and planned out as this uber popular media franchise with TV shows and toys and video games all launching together, when does that ever go well?
Well, surely this time.
Galador's hook was how this character could glinch. Basically, could transform their body parts to other things, so that was the idea behind the toy line. You mix and match them to create, oh my god. So naturally, Lego poured millions into this project, assuming it was going to save their company. Judging by the video game, I wonder what happened. This game is awful! Some of the worst controls I've ever experienced in a side-scroller. The jump is so stiff, yet movement is so slippery. It feels like they're going in and out of slow motion half the time. This frame rate is terrible. And the concept of switching between different abilities, glinching, makes for some decent level design ideas. Like you have to use your frog legs to swim, then glinch over to your robot arm to punch a wall and time it well. It's like, I can see where this could have been a serviceable kids game. But that doesn't go with the Galador theming. There was a Galador console game in development, but that was shelved once it was apparent that it's Galador. But hey, at the very least, during these uncertain times, Lego launched Bionicle, which seemed to pick up a lot of Galador slack, being badass toys with lore. These, I feel like, were a far more natural extension of Lego's brand. I mean, I never even heard of Galador until, case in point, Galador. I mean, this other trash doesn't even feel like Lego. Bionicle felt like big boy Lego. I mean, Duplo box were for babies. The smaller stuff was for post babies. Bionicle pieces? Choking hazard, not for children under 3 years. Good thing I'm 27. So naturally, we got a Bionicle video game, developed by the studio behind Star Fox on SNES. Wow, what a legendary team. I mean, who better to make your game than the makers of Star Fox, Croc, Buck Bumble, Ren and Stimpy Fire Dogs, Carve, Catwoman. Yeah, who better? This feels like a decently ambitious kids game with nothing to show for it. Like, you had some halfway decent concepts here. Multiple playable characters, soaking up energy from enemies. It's like they wanted to do something cool. But when you actually sit down and play it, you get a game that just feels generic and frankly unfinished. Gotta be honest, playing through most Lego video games released up to this point, I feel like a jackass. I'm not getting anything out of this. Most of these have nothing to them. Even the beloved ones. I'm sorry, but if you didn't grow up with them, give me one good reason to play Lego Island.
Okay, well, don't write it like that. Many of these Lego games aren't horrible. But it's clear while LEGO was leaving a mark on the video game industry with the abundance of titles, they weren't leaving much of an impression. LEGO Island was the biggest success, and rightfully so. But let's be real here. Is this a game you'd genuinely want to play today? Or a game you'd just want to play again because of nostalgia? And if you're holding firm you'd genuinely want to play today, how about now? I wouldn't say any of these games age particularly well. I can respect them, but I can only enjoy a game so much from the perspective of, well, if I were a kid in 2001 playing this, I may have liked it. And that's the best I can really say about these things. So when I say the era following the initial games was dog shit, I'm not trying to be mean, I'm just scared for your standards. But thankfully, everything changed in 2005. Who knows why?
Lego Star Wars, the video game, because Lego Dougal don't exist. So why not make a video game based on one of the most popular Lego licensed releases? I mean, it went so well the first time. Developed by the sick freaks behind Sonic 3D Blast, Traveler's Tales had a vision for Lego Star Wars, being a retelling of the prequel trilogy in a family-friendly Lego style. Of course, to get the most out of this experience, it helps to be a fan of the source material, and as cool as it was to introduce myself for the past 27 years as a guy who's never watched a Star Wars movie, I can tell it's time to change that.
Hi, I've never watched a Star Wars movie, and now I'm wearing socks!
Unfortunately, there's only so much I can understand from Google searches, so I'll concede and watch the Star Wars prequel trilogy.
I lost my only quirk for that.
I don't think The Phantom Menace is that bad, it's just boring and unnecessary. I feel like you could have summarized important plot points here in 10 minutes and include that in the next one, which is already pretty forgettable to me. Attack of the Clones is just decent with some heavy-hitting scenes, but Revenge of the Sith, oh boy, this was a good one. So thankfully, now I can finally understand what I'm looking at here.
Oh, graphics.
This had every excuse to be a cynical cash grab. I mean, Lego Star Wars, the video game. It's like Shrek Twinkies. And you're telling me this was meant to tie into the theatrical release of Revenge of the Sith? 2 months later? You could have known for months ahead of time exactly what was gonna happen in the biggest movie of 2005. Well, damn, rip my tickets up, I'm good now. But see, even though this could have easily been a rushed, soulless product, booting this up, you can instantly notice a tremendous leap in quality from previous LEGO games. How impressive. Looking back at those experiences, LEGO Star Wars is a much more traditional video game by comparison. You go through a level, defeating enemies, solving some puzzles. It's very simple, but not brain dead, and that's a big deal. Because this game isn't just meant for whoever thinks this is gourmet. Morons. It's meant for everybody. Anybody of any age can pick this up and enjoy themselves, right alongside another player whenever they want. Because LEGO Star Wars has co-op. Drop in and drop out co-op to be exact. Another player can just pop in on a whim and leave without screwing anything up. It's really handy and feels so natural. There's not much to learn here. This is a game where you mash all the buttons for 5 seconds and immediately understand all the controls, which makes this perfect for families, siblings, friends. If you aren't lonely, you finally have it all in an experience that feels just as Star Wars as it does LEGO, which is impressive considering on the surface, it almost feels like the LEGO branding is kind of superfluous here. Yeah, there's LEGO pieces all over the place, but the game isn't super focused around using your imagination or custom building things. Sometimes I've thought, if you're gonna make it a LEGO game, why not make it to the point where the game mechanics need the LEGO branding at their core? Now, even visually, like most of the environments here barely have any LEGO incorporated into them. But does any of this really matter? Do we really need this to be more LEGO than it is? Because honestly, the game does more than enough with the LEGO aesthetic. You can break so many things in the environment with bricks flying all over the place. You collect LEGO studs as a currency. You quickly put together LEGO pieces to create useful items. And on top of all of this, this game utilizes the LEGO branding's greatest strength. They won't say f***. That's what I think LEGO best brings to the table here. The tone. It's a completely family-friendly Star Wars experience. Sure, most of the movies are already PG, But what if I'm giving up sci-fi action and violence for Lent? Well, Lego Star Wars is rated E for ever see a Lego intentionally kill prisoners of war? Nope! With how much this franchise appeals to everybody of all ages with its constant depictions of dismemberment, I think having more of a G-rated option out there is important, and theming it around Lego makes it entirely natural. If this was just a Star Wars game where they gotta keep it clean, it would kind of feel like censorship. But Lego Star Wars revels in the fact they have to recontextualize scenes for kids without cool parents. They don't try to explain around any changes. Like, they know they can't show certain things because it's Lego. So they make the most of it, which fits perfectly with the humor throughout the rest of the experience. I mean, that tongue is right in there. And the decision to have none of the characters speak helps the humor thrive that much more. I mean, everybody respects comedy like this because it's completely universal. It's timeless. Yeah, you may not be busting a gut at it, but it's so charming and pleasant and enjoyable, especially if you're a fan of the source material. The way the cutscenes play out, it honestly feels like how you'd retell these movies if you were playing with the actual Lego Star Wars sets. And oh my god, there's so much to collect and chip away at. Over 50 characters to play as, unlockables, cheat codes. Damn it, they did it! I may have said Lego Island was the perfect representation of Lego in video game form, but Lego Star Wars was the perfect Lego video game. It utilizes both franchises superbly with a gameplay formula that, while quite simple, it's actually good. It works. Prior Lego games appeal to kids. This appeals to everybody. And I think this is the blueprint that should be used for 30 more games. You know what that means?
Lego The Hobbit for 3DS!
After the success of Lego Star Wars, TT Games became the main developer of Lego games moving forward, utilizing the same core formula for most releases. Now, just because most of these are cut from the same cloth doesn't mean they don't try to up the ante with each subsequent title. For example, the next game, Lego Star Wars 2, features the... oh god. Well, that was way better. This game covers the first 3 Star Wars movies. The last 3. The best way to describe Lego Star Wars 2 is better Lego Star Wars. The quality's been bumped up a notch with bigger levels, better cutscenes, more humor. The gameplay variety is far greater, and numerous tweaks and improvements that we can customize our own Lego character. Finally, it's Star Wars my way. I'd say if you have any preference between these two, it mostly comes down to which movies you like more. Because objectively, Lego Star Wars 2 is pretty much just more Lego Star Wars, but better. Well then what the hell does that make this? Lego Star Wars The Complete Saga from 2007 expanded upon and combined the first 2 games to create the ultimate Lego Star Wars and Lego Star Wars video game. They did a great job with this, as it doesn't feel like 2 games in one. It genuinely feels like one massive experience, which is why this is often considered the best Lego game. I mean, yeah, kind of a boring pick for best Lego game, don't you think? 2 already beloved games brought together for a big-ass mega game? Like, of course that's gonna be the best one. Do you think Laval's journey stands a chance after this? But hey, I can't keep acting like the Complete Saga isn't the best of the best. Now, just the fact it's on the HD consoles is reason enough to pick it up. Even though Lego Star Wars 2 was already on Xbox 360 a year prior. Hey, if you only played the first 2 games on, say, GameCube or PlayStation 2, the Complete Saga was only available on the new 7th generation consoles at the time, so all's good. You get the 2 games, upgraded on newer hardware. But for the sad sack who bought Lego Star Wars 2 on 360 just to get this game a year later on the same system, name something sadder. Damn. But I do think if you just played the first 2 games and not the Complete Saga, you're missing out. Like, they added my favorite setting in the Star Wars universe as a bonus level. Hinsdale, Illinois. They updated the hell out of the Lego Star Wars 1 levels. There's this new multiplayer battle mode and over 120 playable characters, including, oh my god! What? Hey, I can see what they're teasing here.
Lego Indiana Jones, the video game.
my descent into madness.
It's not happening, is it?
LEGO Indiana Jones: The Original Adventures launched in June of 2008 in a pretty obviously similar move to what was done with the original LEGO Star Wars. 3 movies from Lucasfilm, retold as LEGO to coincide with the latest film, though while LEGO Star Wars adapted Revenge of the Sith 2 months before its release, LEGO Indiana Jones doesn't do anything with Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and it came out after that movie's release too. I guess they just really didn't want to do a LEGO version of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Doesn't mean they didn't do it. This is very much just taking the established LEGO Star Wars formula and creating an Indiana Jones game out of it. Of course, you have a handful of new mechanics more in line with this franchise here, but by and large, it's exactly what you think it is. Still a great family-friendly adaptation of some classic movies, though gameplay-wise, it's obviously put a stronger emphasis on puzzles here, as it is Indiana Jones. But man, some of these puzzles are such a damn pace breaker. Like, I have no idea what they want from me, and I'm stumped for like 20 minutes straight. Never really had a problem with the previous games. They were pretty straightforward. But here, I just have a hard time deciphering what I'm supposed to do, what parts of the environment to focus on, which items are important, and half the time the solution is just like, why would I ever think to do that?
Well, I did the math, and I've concluded I wouldn't think to do that because I'm an idiot.
You gotta admit, it takes gumption to stand up and admit LEGO games are too hard for me. Might as well go through the rest of my fears while I'm at it. Well, LEGO Indiana Jones was a solid next step for LEGO games. Wouldn't say it hit as hard as LEGO Star Wars. I mean, oh boy, there's over 80 playable characters, but how many do you really give a damn about? At least my favorite Indiana Jones character is included. But this game helped pave the way for future franchises to get the LEGO treatment. The next one being that very same year. In September 2008, we got LEGO Batman the video game. I actually owned this one on the Wii back in the day. What did I think about it? When you're an impatient only child playing your very first Traveler's Tales LEGO game in single player, something happens to you that changes the trajectory of your life forever.
Based on my calculations, if I liked Lego Batman as a kid, I would be governor by now.
This game, and well, all other LEGO games like it, just didn't click with me. I don't know, it's like what I was saying with LEGO Indiana Jones. I just felt directionless a good chunk of the time, with no clue on how the game wanted me to proceed with the solution to many puzzles being, honestly, really poorly telegraphed. Now, I'm not saying these games are hard. Rather, the puzzles you need to solve in order to proceed feel designed in a clunky way. The solutions often have poor visual indicators, the game's camera system and the way the environment is laid out get in the way all the time. Hell, even the controls just don't feel responsive enough. It's not that they're bad, it's just I may try to make it jump multiple times, and I don't make it, so I go, well, that must mean there's something else I need to do. So 20 minutes go by scouring every aspect of the room I'm in before I try the jump again. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Couple that with how many of these games are riddled with bugs and glitches that don't ruin the experience. They're not a mess or anything, but they 100% hurt the game's flow. So because of all this, I just didn't care for these games for the longest time. But after experiencing the first few LEGO Star Wars, jumping into Indiana Jones, and revisiting Batman, I think I get them now. Oh, they have problems. I will still stand by my issues with them, but they aren't as off-putting as they once were. Took me a while to really get these games design-wise, and I think playing them in co-op helped out tremendously with that. So, you know what? LEGO Batman the video game, it ain't bad. Finally, I've atoned for 11-year-old Scott's worst opinion.
Hey, don't worry, there's more I gotta make up for.
This is actually the first of this line of licensed LEGO games to feature an original story rather than an adaptation of pre-existing movies. Now, that sounds like a big deal until you read the script. Yeah, keeping with the LEGO tradition of, they not only can't say f***, they can't say. LEGO Batman has to tell an original story with no dialogue, so it just boils down to, the Batman villains are up to no good. It's up to Batman and Robin to save the day, which I can't really complain. I mean, if they gave me a more complex plot, would I accept it? LEGO Batman is exactly what it needs to be, though maybe not in terms of the playable character roster, like only 40 or so, way less than LEGO Indiana Jones, which, I mean, this is Batman we're talking here. How do you have practically half the character roster of Indiana Jones? Probably because most of the LEGO Indiana Jones roster is, what kind of a merry fucker kill is this? It's a whole lot of filler. So LEGO Batman actually has a far better selection with one of the most varied and unique character lineups we've seen from a LEGO game yet, but they could have gone farther. I really enjoy the different suits you unlock for Batman and Robin, giving you some cool abilities to help you progress, like gliding, placing bombs, magnet shoes, vacuuming up objects, and having a hero side of the story mode as well as a villain side. It all puts this right next to the complete saga for me as one of the best LEGO video games. LEGO Indiana Jones is pretty good, but I just clicked with this one a whole hell of a lot more. Though, don't take my word for it, because all these games are the same. I mean, they are and they aren't. It's like the new Super Mario Brothers games. These are all unique games. These are all pretty interchangeable, but they're all solid family-friendly experiences. They were included with Xbox 360 consoles during the 2008 and 2009 holiday seasons. That should tell you something. It shared a case with Kung Fu Panda.
The something it tells me is troubling.
You know what? F it. Kung Fu Panda for Xbox 360, also known as the ass of LEGO Indiana Jones. Thank God something new, because Lord only knows if I hate anything as much as a goose telling me what to do, it's talking about only LEGO games for nearly an hour. This is the worst fucking day of my life. I have a soft spot for this era of movie licensed games. Not because I consumed a ton of them, but because, hey, I mean, I was 11 at the time of this movie's release. So yeah, I saw it in the theater. What else was playing that day? Now, I didn't have an Xbox 360 or PlayStation 3 at the time, but damn did they seem premium. So seeing some movies from my childhood as HD video games in an era where movie licensed games were becoming seemingly less frequent than they were in the previous generation, it just makes this feel special. Now, does this pair well with LEGO Indiana Jones? Well, does wine pair well with cheese, peanut butter and jelly, bleach and rubbing alcohol? Well, after Star Wars, Indiana Jones, now Batman, the sky's the limit for what LEGO will do next. LEGO Sky. But thankfully, they listened to feedback. All these LEGO games are the same? No problem!
Oh, also, it really bugged me that none of the previous LEGO games had Rascal Flatts in them. This solves everything!
LEGO Rock Band. Yeah, that's just what the doctor ordered.
I have kidney failure.
A family-friendly rock band experience, released during the height of the rhythm game craze in 2009 alongside Rock Band Unplugged, the Beatles Rock Band for iPhone, Guitar Hero 5, Guitar Hero Metallica, Guitar Hero Van Halen, Guitar Hero Smash Hits, Guitar Hero On Tour Modern Hits, DJ Hero, and Band Hero. So, as we can clearly see, there was a need for this. Band Hero was this game's direct competitor. I mean, not only are they both more family-friendly E10+ rated spin-offs, they both released the same day. From this point forward, November 3rd will be known as Bob Feller's birthday. These aren't worth a national holiday. Well, hey, with how popular this genre is, I think it's a great thing we have a game everybody can enjoy with only lyrics and mild suggestive themes, compared to the sinfully T-rated Guitar Hero 5 that has mild lyrics and mild suggestive themes. Oh, that's right, they dropped a an itsy bitsy spider. I think LEGO Rock Band was the better move. I mean, I didn't understand the point of Band Hero for the longest time. I was like, Guitar Hero already has a band. Now I can see these are both for practicing abstinence, but LEGO Rock Band gets that across far better. It's a LEGO themed rock band for kids fundamentally. Traveler's Tales did work on this one. Not sure why. You really needed their expertise for this? This is just Rock Band with Legos dancing in the background. Well, to be fair, TT Fusion actually developed this. They're sort of the Traveler's Tales B team. So what was the A team working on?
Why?
LEGO Indiana Jones 2. What the hell is there left to cover? Well, we're doing a standalone game to cover Kingdom of the Crystal Skull? A year-old movie audiences thought was lame as dirt?
Not only are you learning my opinions on LEGO games, but dirt too.
Oh, no, actually, LEGO Indiana Jones 2 features all Indiana Jones movies reinterpreted in new ways.
It's new.
While the bulk of the package is an adaptation of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, you do get new levels based on the first 3 movies, which, I mean, cool, but this was obviously done because they knew this movie alone wasn't enough to warrant a new game. So it just ends up feeling like a sloppy excuse to make another LEGO Indiana Jones game when the concept of LEGO Indiana Jones 2 a year after the original was completely unwarranted. You did a damn good job covering 3 classic movies in one package, and just a year later, you want to cover the 4th mediocre one with some bits from the first 3 thrown in as a bonus? It's like, yeah, they pulled it off. It's a complete video game, but which one feels more justified here? The segments from the first 3 movies represented in this game are basically the scraps of what wasn't covered in the original, so they make no sense out of context. They're just random Indiana Jones scenes that don't flow into each other at all. But hey, at least the core gameplay has seen a ton of changes.
They're changes.
Okay, so props to them for trying to do something new here. I mean, they must have known this was gonna be a tough sell if they didn't change a damn thing. So levels are bigger now. Camera pulls back way farther, there's more of an emphasis on exploration. You know, I think this is a pretty reasonable evolution of the LEGO formula. As long as there's still 2-player co-op, I'm freaking out here! What the hell did they do to you? Because levels are larger, they couldn't have had the 2 players share the same screen anymore. They had to implement split screen or whatever the f this is. It's making me dizzy. I understand the purpose and value of this dynamic split screen in concept. It changes based on where each player is in the level and goes away when they both get close enough to each other. With bigger levels, split screen is a necessity. But this makes me appreciate the compact, tighter level design of the previous game so much more. Like, this is perfect for cooperative play. You don't have to think about anything, just it's the same game with another guy now. Here, it's disorienting. I would much rather have it split down the middle equally than changing sides and spinning around constantly, and you can't turn it off. Well, that's the trade-off for bigger levels, but I don't even think I want that in the first place. Just kind of exasperates the issues I already had with LEGO games. Oh, I have problems understanding what they want me to do? Well, let's pull the camera back farther. Let's make things more complicated. Here's a bunch of giant-ass hub worlds you have to solve puzzles in to progress. And the quality of levels here just aren't all too great. These vehicle ones can take a hike. There are a bunch of tedious-ass stages where you just have to beat up an onslaught of enemies for like 10 minutes, and man, there are some areas that just don't work great without a second player. This boss fight where I have to line these dishes up to reflect the light back on them, I mean, with 2 players, it's instantaneous. You both just move them for like 5 seconds, and bam, you're golden. With 1, not only do I constantly have to go back and forth inching these things to and fro, but the damn CPU keeps distracting the boss from doing what I need him to do. So then I have to go back to the right dish to reflect off of first, then go to the other to move that where I need to be. God damn it! At least there's a level creator now. That's something. You can't use online. Yeah, 2009 on the Xbox 360. Can't share your creations. They are for you and you only. Thank God, I don't want to explain why I'm censoring this. LEGO Indiana Jones 2 isn't horrible or anything, but it is most definitely the weakest Traveler's Tales LEGO game thus far. I can tell they tried to make the most out of a pretty lackluster concept, but does that make this good? Barely. Still better than a lot of other games. I mean, what? Would I rather be underwhelmed and sometimes frustrated with LEGO Indiana Jones 2, but overall have a reasonable time? Or play LEGO Harry Potter years 1 through 4? Alright, so in 2010, we got this guy right here. I'd say this was the first LEGO Harry Potter video game, but I don't want to go to hell for lying.
Because I'm already going for treason.
When it comes to franchises that deserve the LEGO video game treatment, I think Harry Potter made a ton of sense. I mean, you have so many stories to tell, locations to explore, characters to play as, and splitting it up into 2 parts right off the get-go ensured the developers could give the most attention possible to every fan favorite moment. Here I'll be playing the remaster they put out for PlayStation 4 back in 2016. Why is my controller constantly moaning? What, am I hearing things?
Yep, and the game just does this.
In many ways, LEGO Harry Potter is the best LEGO game yet, but man, as much as these games improve, they don't in the most important ways sometimes. Like, okay, I have to put these LEGO bricks together in this specific pattern. Nothing's happening. Let's try again. Oh, see, now it works. It's a good thing I did things differently this time. Does this pillar have to be right here? Like, honestly. Oh, damn it, I looked away for a second. Now I don't know where the game wants me to go. Of course, directly off screen. What the hell do I do here? What the hell do I do here? What the hell do I do here? Playing these LEGO games, I'm constantly shifting between, wow, I must be so stupid, and no, this game is fucking with me. That's not to say this is a bad game. Like I said, in many ways, this is the best LEGO game yet, and I think a big part of that is the world design here. The attention to detail is off the charts. Feels like I'm genuinely exploring the School of Hogwarts, which is pretty cool. Look, they got the iconic giant colored Lego Duplo blocks from the movies. Come on, if you don't remember this scene, you must have memory loss.
Yep, and it's not in the movies.
Yeah, these basic Lego bricks are scattered throughout for you to solve puzzles and create platforms with your Wingardium Leviosa spell. Holy shit, it's like I'm really a toy wizard. That's right, they got spells in this game. This ain't just another Lego game, this is Lego Harry Potter to its core. Look, Wingardium Leviosa! I can lift things just like I'm using the Force in Lego Star Wars. God damn it. Oh, and this is still going on! This sound represents a student in peril nearby you can save. Keyword, can. I think I'm just getting worn down, which is a shame. This is a pretty good game. I mean, there must be a reason this is the Lego game that gets the most re-releases. Hell, they even did a PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X version. Thank God. The level creator is back, so it's like we've come full circle. Now all we need is John to— Damn it! Lego Star Wars 3 followed a year later in March of 2011. Yeah, Lego Star Wars 3. You do all the movies in 1 and 2, so what's left? Lots. This is based on the Clone Wars TV series from 2008. Listen, no disrespect to the show or anything. I've never seen it. I've seen Manimal. So keep that in mind when I say there's just a certain aura about this that makes me not give a single damn about it. It's like if they made a Lego Indiana Jones 3 and it was based on the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, or if they did a Lego Harry Potter 3 and it was based on that Cursed Child stage play. Like, yeah, you can do that. These are legitimate parts of their respective franchises and stories, but doing a Lego retelling just feels like we're milking it at this point. Like, oh, we need to do a new Lego Star Wars because those sell. Well, we could do the first 2 seasons of the Clone Wars. It's like it's not even the full series. Feels like an excuse to make a new Lego Star Wars, not a reason. I definitely need to see the show to get the full enjoyment out of this, because while I'm currently playing it, yeah, it's fine, but I am on total autopilot at this point. When I look up any particular Lego game online to just see what the general consensus is, pretty much there will be a huge crowd of folks saying each one in particular is the best Lego game of all time. Listen, I understand I'm gonna come across different opinions everywhere I go. I mean, I've been to your family's Thanksgiving dinner. Damn. But every Lego game, I see people say, oh, this one, it's a masterpiece. The other ones just don't have the same magic. The magic being this one released in 2008, and this one released when you had to start paying taxes. I genuinely feel like most of it has to do with nostalgia and your attachment to the source material. Like, there's literally nothing Lego Harry Potter could do to make you like it more than Lego Star Wars, other than be Star Wars. This game is fine. They added an option for normal split screen. They no longer have the level creator, but like the opposite of this. It's not like I used it all too much, but it felt so perfect for these Lego games to include level editors. But hey, you gotta get your priorities straight if you're looking to pump these games out quickly, with the next one releasing 2 months later.
They can squirt these out in 2 months? They're putting pregnancies to shame.
In May of 2011, we got Lego Pirates of the Caribbean, the video game. I think I've seen the first Pirates movie twice, and I barely remember anything from it, but seeing Dudley Dursley on the playground instantly brought back a rush of nostalgia. We're going through 4 films here, all adapted in goofy-ass ways, dozens of playable characters, tons of collectibles, and not a single damn pirate in sight. Well, maybe Lego Harry Potter years 5 through 7, released later that year, picks up the slack. I think I've seen the 5th movie twice, and I barely remember anything from it, but damn, what happened to Dudley Dursley? Both of these games were released in conjunction with big new movies, and when you take a look at how the traditional tie-ins were doing, these were for the best. Damn, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 is a 2 out of 10 video game? Good thing that's the cutoff for my standards. It was around this time, you could tell movie license games were really starting to fizzle out, but Lego games, oh boy, they were just getting started. So it honestly made more sense to go with this route instead of cobbling together God knows what. Lego games were the safer bet. You know, at the very least you're gonna get a competent experience, and the Lego game framework was pretty set in stone at this point. You knew exactly what you were gonna get with one of these, which is also the biggest issue with them. God damn, am I sick of these games. There's no way they were expecting anybody to play each and every one of them. I mean, this is 3 in 2011 alone. I do appreciate a new franchise with Pirates of the Caribbean, but what do you even say about it? Look up any review of any Lego game on any gaming website. They always go like this.
The tried and true Lego formula strikes back, and the force is strong with this one. Lego Pirates of the Caribbean will make any fan's heart throb for busting up bricks. Cause busting makes us feel good. And while nothing's been fixed, and this is the 4th they've released this week, the charming humor and hundreds of collectibles kept me coming back for more well past my bedtime. Lego Harry Potter years 4 through 9 gets a 9 out of 10. And the next Lego game will get a 6 because I'll be sick of the Lego formula by then. Until the next game, which will get a 9. Also, I forgot to play this game.
So unless there's something more to say about Lego Pirates of the Caribbean than just Lego Pirates of the Caribbean, I'm done talking about this. And you, Lego Harry Potter years 5 through 7. Yeah, that's what it is. Like what, are you disappointed they didn't cover racing stripes in this one? Kinda stinks that the Lego Harry Potter collection is literally just the 2 games on one disc and nothing more, especially comparing it to Lego Star Wars The Complete Saga. Though it's more than likely because these 2 games are a bit too complicated and distinct to easily combine them into one seamless experience. But hey, sometimes you just can't get what you want. Oh God! Lego Batman 2 DC Superheroes is next up, releasing in the summer of 2012. Okay, you know what? Lego Batman was definitely the most worthy of a sequel. Having an original storyline opens up for possibilities far beyond what any other Lego game has done. I mean, at this point in 2012, what would a Lego Star Wars 4 look like? Oh, so many things left to cover. Well, with Lego Batman 2 bringing other DC characters into the mix, the potential is through the roof.
Of billionaire industrialists are in for a treat tonight.
What the f*** was that? What, they could talk this whole time? I thought they were mute, or French at least. Lego Batman 2 features full-blown voice acting, and this definitely helps the original plot be far more plot-like than ever before. The voice acting ain't bad at all, but as much as we're gaining something here, I can't help but feel we're losing far more. Yes, it's easier to tell an actual story now, but why does that matter? It's Lego Batman 2. Well, gosh, what about Lego Riddler's Ark? Previous Lego games had such a carefree attitude. They would goof around in every single scene. Dobby dies and it's a fucking party. Now, it's like they're trying to make this an actual thing. Seconds go by without jokes. Seconds! To be fair, we're trading sock puppets, grunting, for actual written gags and a legitimate story. So obviously the quality has gotten better, but it just feels like the spirit's missing now. I wasn't going to Lego games for some of the greatest comedy known to man. Or maybe I was, you don't know me. But the charm left a far bigger impression on me than the new setup does. Don't get me wrong, this isn't bad, but it isn't the same, and I prefer how things worked prior. Though I completely understand why they made the jump with this game. I mean, one of the biggest sore spots of the original Lego Batman was how it told its own story. It didn't. So for this particular game, it's not that I dislike the voice acting here. Rather, I dislike the precedent that it set for future Lego titles. Because it's not like Lego games have never had voice acting, but moving forward, that's all they had. My God, if I wanted to hear a Lego figure talk this much, I'd stop taking my pills. But hey, they were obviously proud of how things evolved here. It's a bullet point on the back of the box, and they sold a DVD movie of the game's cutscenes. Yeah, this is basically an enhanced compilation of Lego Batman 2's cutscenes, also known as cinema. They wanted to go bigger with this one here. I mean, between levels, we have this giant open world hub area to explore, which really makes this feel like a legitimate AAA video game rather than just another Lego game. It obviously wasn't an afterthought either. I mean, this is a massive area with tons to do. Looks really good as well. Like, this is a damn quality game. The actual levels themselves are more of the same, but they're extremely long now. Though they do mix things up with the different suits and eventually Superman joining in, which, damn, you can fly literally anywhere. You're invincible, you have heat vision, ice breath, then here's Batman. Hey, in actuality, I think they do a really good job balancing the characters out without it feeling stupid that, oh wow, Superman can't just do all this himself. He's incredibly powerful, but he doesn't break the game or invalidate the other characters, which I feel was a massive accomplishment considering this is the most powerful fictional creature. Why is he teaming up with this? But I will say, for a game subtitled DC Superheroes, you're mostly just playing as Batman, Robin, and Superman. Others are here and you can unlock them later on, but throughout the story, it's pretty much just these three. So it does feel a little lacking there, especially with the title being what it is. Sure, the other superheroes are involved, but in terms of what the game is truly all about, it's Lego Batman with some Superman and no galactic bomb. But this is hardly much of an issue. Especially when all this crap is. The camera is so far up my ass while driving in the open world. Flying is just kind of awkward. And don't even think about playing this game in co-op. Man, there's something about the static split screen option that just feels claustrophobic. Like, aren't we normally moving from side to side in these Lego games? Why isn't the split screen between the top and the bottom instead? So, sure, I'll try the dynamic option. Maybe it's better now.
And guess what? I also just got the response back from the job I applied to. Dynamic split screen quality guesser. Aw, man.
This is absolutely horrible! I thought it was bad back in Lego Indiana Jones 2, but I'd take that any day compared to this. Just look at it. We're literally right next to each other. Why is the screen splitting? Why does it whip around here? It restricts the hell out of the camera too. Like, all I need to do is aim at this ledge and it won't let me. Oh great, yeah, thanks. The UI is directly in the way of everything here. How the am I supposed to play this? Lego Batman 2 is probably the best Lego game yet. I can't wait to see what the developers do next.
No way!
Lego The Lord of the Rings. Every day we stray further from God. Yep, we're following the same format as Lego Batman 2. Big open world leading us to each of the main levels alongside cutscenes with full voice acting, which is ripped straight from the movies. Yeah, gonna be honest, what the hell are we doing here? Feels like they thought, well, we made the jump to voice acting with Lego Batman 2. We can't possibly do without it in this game. Oh, but the typewriter in my voice actor Rolodex is all the way over there. It honestly feels a little lazy, or rushed at least. Makes for a less humorous game too. Yeah, it's still goofy, but I'd say most scenes are just direct Lego remakes of the movies with nothing else added. They did a great job animating the dialogue from the film, and it does help to suck you into the world, but it's definitely less Lego than any of the games before it. There's so many characters to swap between throughout the levels, which is really cool as it incorporates the full Lord of the Rings cast of characters in meaningful ways, but I do find it a little tedious to have to hold Y, select the right character, do one thing, then immediately swap to another character to do one thing. Oh, and you have an inventory wheel now too? Like, when I pick up bundles of wood, I have to find a slot for it. Like, why can't I just pick it up and that's that? Just feels a little clunkier than something like Lego Batman, where you're mostly swapping between 2 to 3 characters with no need for a trowel in sight. To be fair, as you progress through the game, you can purchase tools from the blacksmith to allow other characters to have certain abilities so you don't have to constantly switch them to perform whatever task at hand. Plus, it isn't like any of these are actual issues. They're just kind of small annoyances that I'm bringing up for the sake of bringing something up because there's really not much else to say here. Some may prefer the tone of this game as it feels so damn epic and encapsulates the franchise incredibly well with humor that isn't nearly as in your face as other Lego titles. And some may prefer to play this game on Wii, and some may prefer death. Lego Lord of the Rings isn't a bad game at all. Just for me, I wouldn't call it the best Lego game. It's just another one. Like, this was the last Lego game released for the Nintendo Wii. Oh, no kidding. And that's because there were greener pastures ahead. The Wii U. Ah, what's this thing, eh? Is some kind of real shitty hat? Oh wait, no, it's a game console.
I liked it better as the hat.
Well, what better spot than a shitty-ass hat for one of the first major Lego games not based on a licensed property in ages to call home? When do you want me to start? Well, like it or not, this is Lego City Undercover for the Wii U and only the Wii U. An exclusive Lego game? Another one for the legacy. Actually, Nintendo themselves worked directly with TT Games on this one. They wanted a Lego game on their new platform, all while the developers were in the early stages of working on a title based on the Lego City toy line. I guess being a Wii U exclusive funded and published by Nintendo gave them the flexibility to make something original rather than more of the movie adaptations we'd been getting for nearly a decade at this point. Which were a safe bet, no doubt, but when this is all you've been making and you're pumping out 1 to 3 a year, I assume there had been many times throughout development they would say,
what the fuck am I doing?
So this right here honestly feels like a huge moment for Lego video games. I mean, an original concept in an open world pissing in the mouth of crime? We're right back where we started with Lego Island, but now it's an actual video game. Pretty comforting to see this formula can work without being carried by a movie license. And honestly, I think that helps this game feel far more fresh. While the gameplay is, the exact same goddamn thing as the last 12 games, it expands upon the open world concept from the past two and makes it more than just a way to get from level to level. It's now the main focus. And like, it's still a TT Games Lego title. It's still basically more of the same, but not as much as previous games. That, alongside the original storyline, puts this in a different league of Lego game. One you don't necessarily feel bad for playing after binging 12 others. That doesn't make this better than them, it just makes it more respectable. It's like, they're really trying this time. No longer will our game rely on movie reference material. That's exactly what we just did! Practically every other line uttered in this game is a pop culture reference of some kind, supplementing the goofy-ass humor fairly well. That makes for the perfect family-friendly alternative to a Grand Theft Auto game. Here, son, play this instead of Grand Theft Auto. If I had a son, he'd hate me right now. GTA is the easiest comparison to make here, but I wouldn't say Lego City Undercover is a sound replacement for the series. The Simpsons Hit and Run is. The general structure is similar to Grand Theft Auto, but the core game is nothing like it. For starters, I don't find Lego City to be the greatest sandbox open world experience. Like, what is there to screw around with here? Playing as the police officer Chase McCain really limits your ability to nuke a hospital. But hey, they more than make up for it by including all the fixins you've come to expect in your Lego games, like multiplayer. Lego City Undercover on Wii U is a single-player only game. You know, for a game hell-bent on being an homage to buddy cop movies, where the fuck is the buddy? It's so strange, especially with the Wii U's gamepad. You'd think this would have been the perfect opportunity to have one player on the TV, the other on the gamepad. But no! Instead, here's some shoehorned in features where the controller is your police communicator and scanner. And I'm sorry, but these things just ruin the game's pace. They're intrusive, they're clunky. I would much rather have the worst loading screens of all time. Oh, thank God! I'd say a good 30 to 40% of this game's runtime are load screens, but hey, you know, it could be worse. 30 to 40% of this game's runtime could be load screens while I'm eating Burger King. Thankfully, this game went multi-platform in 2017, receiving PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch ports published by Warner Brothers, and this release aimed to fix most issues. Co-op is now included, where a second player joins Chase McCain as Chase McCain. Since the game wasn't designed with multiplayer in mind, the second player doesn't really have a ton to do other than just follow player one. I mean, I don't really know what they could have done without straight up reworking a ton of the game. So co-op in this version isn't horrible, just not all too engaging. Load times are better now, and so is this Burger King. Okay, well, as apparent as its flaws may be, Lego City Undercover is a solid game that iterates on the existing Lego formula while keeping things fresh by focusing on an original story and open world gameplay. And what's wild is, this was done by the TT Fusion team. Yeah, those Lego Rock Band bastards. They made the huge open world original Lego game. So what was the A-team working on?
Oh, thank God.
Lego Marvel Superheroes, released in late 2013, hitting the Xbox 360, PS3, and Wii U in October, while debuting on the next-gen consoles at their launch that very next month. And yeah, this is pretty impressive, I'm not gonna lie. This takes everything they've done prior and goes absolutely wild with it. I mean, so many playable characters, roughly like 150, with many having incredibly unique abilities with a great variety of them used from level to level. This is a much better love letter to Marvel than Lego Batman 2 was to DC. I mean, where was he? To be fair, Lego Batman 2 was a Lego Batman game with DC characters included, while this is meant to represent Marvel as a whole, so not a completely fair comparison, but regardless, the scope feels far greater here than ever before. And I think they nailed it. The presentation is fantastic, the amount of content is insane, and the quality of it is through the roof. You got an original story with... Thank God the thunder covered up the sound of my vomit. Like with DC superheroes, I think voice acting is fine when telling an original story in these games. Though the Lego humor doesn't really stand out all too much here. I mean, modern Marvel stuff is already pretty jokey, so this doesn't feel as much like a Lego take on Marvel as it does a Marvel game where he just looks like this for some reason. But the core gameplay is still the exact goddamn same. Yes, it's still just a Lego game. This one doesn't really do much new, but what it does do is damn good. Look, I'm fucking Spider-Man. You get so much bang for your buck here. This is definitely in the upper echelon of Lego titles. On an unrelated note, in February of 2014, we got the Lego Movie video game, which, damn, talk about a perfect storm. You're making Lego video games based on movies all this time, then when an actual Lego movie releases, you make a Lego video game based on that movie. It's like everything in history has been leading up to this very moment.
Ever hear of the domino effect?
In the end, the Lego Movie video game is a movie tie-in game. Don't get me wrong, it's a decent one, but you can definitely tell this was produced under a strict deadline. Basically, all cutscenes are ripped straight from the movie, which, I mean, back in the day with limited access to this kind of stuff, getting movie clips in your video game was pretty cool. But in 2014, it's practical, but not exciting or interesting. Honestly, makes for a very disjointed feeling experience. The way the clips quickly fade to black feels rushed and clunky. And while the game looks pretty good, the movie obviously looks far superior, so they don't really mesh that well together. It just feels like they're playing a cheap movie clip before each level and that's it. I feel nothing watching these and would have 100% taken recreated movie scenes within the game's engine over them. Yeah, they'd be lower quality, they'd use sound-alike voice actors instead of the real deals, but they already do that in the actual levels themselves, and I honestly didn't notice until looking it up. So that would have been great, but you know, why go through all that when using the movie clips is gonna be way less work? Why do anything? Why not just think about the Lego movie instead? The levels themselves are your normal affair. They just sort of overstay their welcome. By the halfway point of each world, I am completely checked out. I'm sick of the environment. I'm tired of the same things they're throwing at me over and over again. The character wild style is used so much throughout the levels that if you're playing co-op, there will be points where one player is just sitting there waiting for a good few minutes while the other player does nearly everything, which wasn't really the case with previous titles. There's this Lego building minigame that brings me right back to Lego Island and Fun to Build. This isn't a bad game at all. It just doesn't feel as fleshed out as other Lego titles, which is fair considering it is based on just one single movie that released right alongside it, rather than a trilogy of classic films or some pop culture conglomerate. So honestly, all things considered, this is still a pretty impressive movie tie-in game. Lots of fun characters to unlock and play as, some cool hub worlds. Visually, everything in the environment is made out of Lego this time around, with characters moving more like actual minifigures. You know, they did a decent job with this game. It just ain't their best outing, but considering the limitations they had making something like this, it makes sense. Especially when another game was releasing just 2 months later! Lego The Hobbit. God damn, who cares? There's lots of problems with this one on a conceptual level. First off, Lego The Hobbit. God damn, who cares? Lord of the Rings is one of the most iconic, acclaimed, and beloved trilogies of all time. On an unrelated note, The Hobbit. They put this out 8 months before the final movie premiered, so this just covers the first 2. Why not just wait? Because as it is, this just feels like an incomplete, inconsequential release. I mean, sure, something like Lego Indiana Jones 1 released and it didn't include the 4th movie, but I mean, it covered the full original trilogy. That's what it set out to do. Lego The Hobbit feels like Warner Brothers commissioned it to make the Hobbit movies seem like a bigger deal than what they were, and they had to release it in April of 2014 for some reason. But hey, they plan to release DLC content covering the 3rd and final movie. Okay, well at the very least, the building minigame from the Lego movie is back.
At the very least?
This is just a dumb Lego game. Mind you, it's not bad. If you're in the mood for a Lego game, it will commence the execution sequence. But man, I just feel like a Lego adaptation of a franchise should mean something. So when something half-baked like this plops out, it's just disheartening. Though to be fair, the concept of Lego The Hobbit stunk to begin with, so oh well, 47th up, it's Lego Batman 3 Beyond Gotham! 2014 was another year containing 3 whole Lego games. Bro, go to a doctor, that ain't healthy. How could TT Games keep up with this schedule? I mean, yearly sports games couldn't even do this.
Well, Lego games couldn't feature Vince Young on the cover, so.
Lego Batman 3 is an odd duck, all right? I don't know what to really think of it most of the time. On one hand, this is the biggest Lego Batman yet. On the other, it's the biggest Lego Batman yet. It simultaneously is doing too much and not enough. Now, comparing this to its predecessor, this feels like a true DC superheroes game. So now it's the Lego Batman part of the title I'm having a problem with. It focuses so much on Green Lantern and all these other superheroes that At this point, why not just call it Lego Justice League? It's like, all right, your gimmick for the second game, I don't think you took advantage of it. So then for your third game, you just straight up lose the plot with Daffy Duck as the Green Lantern. This is where every situation becomes too much.
This.
You got Conan O'Brien and Kevin Smith here because it, they can be. Now I know, if they let them in, we're surely all thinking the same thing here. Where? You can tell they had fun throwing in everything they could, and yeah, it is fun, but it also sort of feels like they're just throwing a bunch of references at you, praying you know how to clap. And for what? The Lantern Planets? All this precious Green Lantern content? Bad news for you, I'm colorblind.
This is just a lamp to me.
We don't have one big open world hub this time, rather a bunch of smaller ones that are just not that great. Why no, I don't care about the Lantern Planets.
Oh, thank God, nobody does.
A little weird they don't have the open world in this game, but with it going beyond Gotham and heading to space, I think they just decided to go a different route here. Plus, I feel they more than made up for it with how every other aspect of this game feels upgraded in some way. They added so much, but honestly kind of loses some of the simpler charm of the first two games. Like, they changed up the special suits you wear here. Throughout Lego Batman 1 and 2, if an area called for a specific one being used, they'd give it to you right there. But now, in Lego Batman 3, you can swap between all your suits at any given time. Guess who hates this?
That's one weird-ass way to spell Scott.
It is so much more clunky to hold the button to bring up the wheel and then fumble through all the options trying to figure out what exactly you need here compared to just getting exactly what the game wants you to use in the previous titles. Sometimes it's hard to tell what suit I need, and all these different superheroes have their own set of suits, and it's hard to keep track of them all, and the button prompts they show aren't always what you need, and this is just annoying. But once again, this isn't a bad game. It's still a Lego game, and keep in mind, even the worst TT Lego games, you can make do with. Some have more prominent issues than others, but it's like drugs. Good cocaine, bad cocaine, it doesn't matter. They'll both fuck up your life. Comparing this to the other Lego Batman games, or even Lego Marvel superheroes, this one just isn't as appealing to me. It doesn't feel as tight of a package as something like Lego Batman 2, but also isn't as quality and focused yet expansive as Lego Marvel Superheroes is. Lego Batman 3 is just alright. It's a fine game that does a lot, but it just doesn't come together as well as their other efforts. Like what they released in the summer of 2015. Lego Jurassic World, it's the same shit. It's based on Jurassic Park, you can play as dinosaurs. What, do you want a 90-minute expose on my deepest thoughts with this one?
By the 70-minute mark, I was really starting to trail off there.
Yeah, at this point, there's just not much else to say. Maybe if you were taking a look at this game individually, but after already discussing a million other games that play just like this one, it's like, do we need to go over all this again? If so, how far back do I gotta start? All these Lego games, they serve their purpose, but they gotta mix some things up if we're gonna warrant talking about them for another 4 hours, because at this point, I think I only got 3 left in me. So thank the Lord himself for Lego Dimensions.
Ironically, Lego Dimensions proves God is not real.
2015. We were at the height of the Toys to Life craze. Skylanders was big, Disney Infinity functioned, and a whole lot of money could be made by selling an overpriced incomplete game with an NFC reader included to scan in figures you buy separately that unlock content that's already in the game's files. Or you could just kill for hire, that's just as commendable. But see, when these things were blowing up, all anybody could think about was how other companies and franchises could blank this new product category. I'm gonna pick the word exploit. Nintendo had Amiibo, Ubisoft had Starlink, Skylanders and Disney Infinity kept pumping out new versions. Sick bricks. Everybody was doing it, which was just implied. But there was one idea that felt perfect for Toys to Life. Imagine a Lego video game interacting with actual Lego minifigures and builds. I'm sure everybody thought of that at one point or another, so the announcement of Lego Dimensions felt incredibly fulfilling. Like, here's the product you've always wanted, and it's everything it could have been, and then some. A massive crossover between dozens upon dozens of some of the most iconic franchises out there. Some that have gotten Lego games before, some that have never gotten Lego games before, some that have never gotten Lego figures or sets made before, many of which owned by completely different companies. The logistics of this must have been a nightmare. And when you think about it, they could have done the bare minimum and it still would have been cool. Warner Brothers published this. You could have just pulled from their catalog. Or hell, Lego City Undercover proved an original Lego game could work, so you could have done something like that, but instead, we got Back to the Future, Doctor Who, E.T., Ghostbusters, Simpsons, Knight Rider, A-Team, Adventure Time, Gremlins, Powerpuff Girls, Teen Titans Go, Wizard of Oz, Scooby-Doo, Goonies, Mission Impossible, Beetlejuice, DC, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Lego properties, hell, video games like Midway Arcade Classics, Portal 2, Sonic the Hedgehog. They went for it, man, and I have the utmost respect for them for that.
And that's all I have.
I wouldn't say LEGO Dimensions failed to meet its potential. It just failed. I wouldn't say that had much to do with the game's quality, rather the Toys to Life market at the time. This was sort of the straw that broke the camel's back. I mean, look at this. It was too damn much. I'm sure everybody thought LEGO Dimensions sounded cool, but we all knew how this worked by then. The magic of Toys to Life was gone now that you had 4 competing with each other on the shelf. Like, this wasn't cool anymore. It was the norm for family-friendly video games, which doesn't make any sense. Skylanders worked because there wasn't much else like it. You didn't have an immediate comparison to make with it, so the higher price point felt more justified. Sure, buying the base package was expensive in addition to picking up more toys alongside it, but there wasn't like a toyless version of the game available, so if you want to play Skylanders, well, Skylanders is your only option. The base game for LEGO Dimensions was 100 bones. You got 3 characters with that, and only 3 characters. To play as anybody else, you'd have to pick up extra packs for 15, 25, some costing 30 bucks a pop. It would cost you hundreds to even think about playing as more than 10 characters when all these other LEGO games are available for a fraction of the price with far more content at no extra cost. Yes, you're also paying for a physical toy, so there's value to that. But if we're talking value here, ew! It's like, why would you invest hundreds into this when it plays exactly the same as any other LEGO game? And the areas where it differs suck! For some reason, they wanted to validate this portal as a gameplay feature, so they have you swapping things around to and fro to solve some of the most irritating puzzles I've ever encountered in a LEGO game. And just the fact that means you need to play close to the portal, it's uncomfortable, it's annoying, it's not fun! It just makes me wish there was a version of this game without the Toys to Life junk, especially when a good chunk of the content available here requires an internet download, so kinda ruins the magic of seeing your toy get transported into the video game realm when what magician says this before their trick? LEGO Dimensions is damn impressive, but dammer disappointing. The concept is great, but after spending all this money and putting together all these LEGO pieces and having to play the game in such an inconvenient way, I just find it to be a waste. They kept releasing new content for this one through to 2017. That was when Warner Brothers announced that was it. LEGO Dimensions got a fair amount of support over those 2 years, though even more content was planned before the plug was pulled. Seemed like this was meant to be the future of LEGO games. I mean, instead of full-blown LEGO Ghostbusters, Fantastic Beasts, or LEGO Batman movie games getting released, they got these giant story packs. The main story of the base game was left on a cliffhanger. There very well could have been a future where traditional LEGO games faded away, with LEGO Dimensions being the only thing on the shelf. Well, thank God that wasn't the case.
This sucks.
January of 2016, LEGO Marvel's Avengers. Well, okay, what's the deal with this one? What makes it different from LEGO Marvel Superheroes?
It's worse in every way.
Contrary to Marvel Superheroes, this is a straight up retelling of 2 Avengers movies and a smattering of other Marvel flicks, which honestly is pretty underwhelming. It's like you basically got everything you could have possibly asked for with the first game. Then with this as a follow-up, I mean, it's a bunch of the same characters, but now there's far less variety because it's all about these specific movies. Once again, they rip dialogue from the source material, and I've already had issues with this before, but this one in particular feels really unnatural. No, they copy and pasted the New York hub from LEGO Marvel Superheroes. It's like, I don't know what the point of this game could be other than to just put out a product with the Avengers logo on it. Even though the previous game did a perfectly good job accomplishing everything this game could ever dream of doing. This, by definition, is a far more limited in scope experience, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I just don't understand what they were going for here other than
This, but everywhere.
well, if money's all you're interested in, maybe you should consider bringing a classic licensed LEGO franchise to the medium of video games. Again, let's do one again. Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens.
Look at this shit. Why is my eye doing that? Why is it doing that?
I am so tired. Based on the flick from 2015 and releasing in June of 2016, this made sense at the time. I mean, we hadn't seen a new Lego Star Wars since 2011. Considering all the games that have released since then, this is a pretty substantial upgrade, and sure, you could have waited for this new trilogy of movies to wrap up to then make a Lego Star Wars game based on all of them, but with The Force Awakens being such a momentous return of the Star Wars movies, it only felt appropriate for it to mark a similar return of the Lego Star Wars video games. So good on you, Lego Force Awakens, you validated your existence. When you can't sleep at night trying to find a purpose in life, just remember, this game did. Not anymore, though! Laying all the Lego Star Wars out next to each other, this one stands out as quite possibly the most skippable entry. I mean, they really had to stretch the content of this one movie out to build a full video game out of it, which was definitely handled better than the Lego movie game, but still leaves this one feeling a bit less substantial compared to the other titles. However, I do find this entry to feel decently fresh, all things considered. The spectacle alone does a lot of the heavy lifting. I mean, look at everything flying around, all these effects, all this action. This feels exactly like a blockbuster movie without fingers. There's multi-builds now. Certain piles of Lego bricks can create a variety of different structures depending on which direction you hold while you put them together, which does introduce some new types of puzzles. You might have a few options of things to build with your pile, and sometimes you need to construct them in a certain order for a mechanism to work properly, so you might need to tear them apart and build something else first. I will admit, at times, it's a bit more tedious and annoying than fun and engaging. Like, I'll see some buildable bricks and go, oh boy! And then it turns out to be a multi-build.
I used an old boy on that.
I do appreciate the addition. It does help to mix things up, so I don't mind it. It's just not all too exciting and can slow things down to a crawl at times. Unlike the other new gameplay addition, the shootout sections. Damn! Who needs dopamine when you have Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens? These are kinda cool, but it's not like they're cool in their own right. They're cool because they're in a Lego game. And they're pretty brain dead to get through, so it's not like they even matter all too much, but it's good to just have something to break the monotony of the Lego gameplay. At least that's what my doctor told me. This is an above average effort, released at just the right time when a new Lego Star Wars hit the spot. Plus it's real polished, fleshed out. I think my only major issue with this one is the source material. Being based on one single movie does hold this one back a bit, and with the next Lego Star Wars adapting all 9 movies, it just makes this stick out as non-essential. I mean, I never hear anybody talking about this one, which doesn't mean it's bad. I'd actually say this is one of the higher quality Lego games of the bunch. But that could be true of a Lego Big Stand 2, and you still wouldn't give a f***. The source material matters. So how about no source material? From 2017, it's Lego World, which proposes something unique. Something not. It's a Lego take on Minecraft, unlike a Lego take on Minecraft. You roam around procedurally generated environments, collecting resources, building whatever you'd like. It's fine. Nothing really feels all too great here. Like, every facet of control in this game is at a varying degree of,
I hate this.
hey, don't worry, they're varying degrees, like a pain chart. For the majority of my time spent here, I'd put myself at a 2. I just don't care. I mean, if you want a Minecraft-like experience, but within the world of Lego, I mean, you could just play Minecraft and suck it up. Because outside the novelty of the Lego branding, this is just a worse Minecraft. A fine worse Minecraft, but a worse Minecraft nonetheless. So it joins the pile, right alongside the next traditional Lego game released in September of 2017, the Lego Ninjago movie video game. Yeah, this is one shitty-ass Minecraft. Interesting how this got a video game adaptation, while all the Lego Batman movie got was a story pack in Lego Dimensions. But I guess that goes to show how dedicated of a fandom Lego Ninjago has.
I think this fandom is a front for the Danish mafia.
Honestly, pretty heartwarming to see Lego's success with different toy lines, considering I was assaulted with this information today. Especially when Ninjago is so unapologetically Lego. Like, man, we've come a long way. Scared to say Lego, but not, a mental health condition? Now, if you're expecting a lore breakdown of Season 2 of Ninjago, ending with Rise of the Spinjitzu Master, the episode containing the final battle, which actually began during the Stone Wars, which started due to the creation of Ninjago by the first Spinjitzu Master after he scrambled cram from the realm of Oni and dragons battling the Overlord to save the island of Ninjago, have you ever considered the fact I don't know what the fuck I just said? I have never seen Ninjago. I'll watch it when you watch Manimal. So I'm going into this game blind, and to be honest, for what it is, it's pretty cool. Similar to the Lego movie game, but we got a lot more razzle-dazzle now. Really action-oriented with all this intense garbage going on. The combat goes crazy here. I do think it's more than fair to rate this as one of the lesser Lego games. I mean, in actuality, the subtitle is the Lego Ninjago movie video game. The title is Don't Give a Shit About Me. An adaptation of the weakest performing Lego movie, far shorter than most other Lego titles. You gotta be into Ninjago to get much out of this. But it's still pretty decent for what it is. And hey, if you wanted a Lego game with more wide appeal, you got that. Just say it with me now. Let's imagine I'm conscious enough to say 2 months later. Lego Marvel Superheroes 2. Oh, thank God! It's been mere minutes! This game hit during that strange time when these Marvel games were avoiding certain characters like the Plague. There's no X-Men, nobody from the Fantastic Four, much like Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, which launched around the same time. All because Disney didn't have the film rights for these characters to be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's not like they couldn't put them in the game, they just didn't want to. They probably wanted to devalue these properties so they could easily buy the film rights to them back. They did it! I knew they could! Oh, see, you can do anything you set your mind to with $70 billion. I'm gonna be completely honest, I don't give a damn about this game. I got stuck on this part where I have to ricochet Captain America's shield off this thing, and I didn't even want to look up the solution. I just wanted out. They added a ton of visual flair to this one. The comic book aesthetic is front and center, and it's neat and all, but feels so busy, which already doesn't help my degrading mental health. I don't know, maybe I'm just not in the mood for a Lego Marvel video game. Or maybe just a Marvel video game. Or maybe, no, that can't be. Well, if I'm not absolutely fucking sick of Lego video games then, surely I could go for a mean Lego The Incredibles right about now.
Surely.
Lego The Incredibles is probably the most unique property to get its very own Lego game, and it's still another superhero one. Most of the time, the franchises that get the Lego treatment are soft PG-13s, which makes their Lego adaptations that much more charming. Like, aw, they can't show gore. The Incredibles was already PG and animated, so it's not really as novel unless you have your priorities straight. Like, god damn, I want to play an Incredibles game where they got some fucking thing on their heads. And as great as The Incredibles is, I mean, you only got 2 movies worth of content to pull from here, and honestly, there's just not a ton of characters or locations to make for as big of a Lego game as other franchises have had. Like our hub world of Municeburg, yes, it is the city The Incredibles takes place in, but I didn't even know its name before playing this game, and like, it's just kind of a city. Feels pretty generic, and all the missions you have here in the open world kind of boil down to a bunch of random superhero stuff the developers had to come up with on their own that don't really have a ton to do with The Incredibles outside of, well, they're superheroes, so they probably have crime to stop. To be fair, I mean, what else do you expect them to do? They reference the movies when they can, but to give us a complete experience, they have to fill in the blanks, and having you stop random bits of crime makes total sense. But when so many other Lego superhero games have already been made, each just brimming with source material to reference, this ends up looking inadequate by comparison. Like, they're really stretching things at times. Other Pixar characters can be unlocked, which is really neat. Makes me wish that was just the focus of the whole game, just one big adaptation of a bunch of Pixar movies. Or hell, even just the Toy Story series would have made for a better Lego game than this. Oh, and then you have to play through the second movie first. Why? Did the developers discover my dream journal on opposite day? Well, at least the core game is as tolerable as always, and man, the presentation is excellent. The style of The Incredibles, the music score, seeing all these scenes play out in video game form, I mean, it does elevate the experience, I can't lie. There's just no way I can hate this game, even when it is obviously one of the weaker Lego titles. But like, can we just cool it on the superhero games for a bit? Oh, you are so clever. Lego DC Super Villains launched in late 2018. It's another Lego Batman game, so thank they didn't call it Lego Batman. We're sort of going back to the first one with the Villains campaign, but now it's the whole damn package, which makes this pretty cool. I mean, it actually feels different, even though it's absolutely goddamn not. Definitely a fun way to shake things up. Plus, hey, while most LEGO games have featured custom character creators as a cute little side thing, this one, it's actually a required part of the experience, and seeing this legendary feature finally enter the spotlight alongside expanding the villain's concept from all the way back in 2008, it's just a fantastic culmination of old LEGO games and new LEGO games. This feels like a party for longtime fans. For me, it's a wake.
When is this gonna fucking end?
So what does that make the LEGO Movie 2 video game?
A bad video game.
Damn, they really nailed the tone of shitty game. You know, the LEGO Movie video game already wasn't anything to write home about, and props to them for keeping the tradition alive and then some. This doesn't play like your average everyday LEGO game.
Thank God!
It plays like LEGO Worlds.
God!
Yes, this game is more or less based on LEGO Worlds because, as it turns out, life sucks. It's not a creative game like LEGO Worlds. Rather, they take the general gameplay of it and try to craft a traditional video game from that. You have a big list of buildable objects you have to collect resources in order to create. And pretty much everything you do in this game revolves around, oh, I have to build this. Well, let me collect the correct bricks for the job, and bingo. Do that for 6 more hours.
Okay.
It's our good friend, the weird again. You know, word on the street is he's legally changing his name to I Like the LEGO Movie 2 video game. This game is like if you took a normal LEGO title, you know, big open hub world, which brings you to the regular levels, and you remove the levels. This is such a departure from what you'd expect from this series, and I have no clue if they were just trying something new. Maybe they wanted to make the most out of the development time sunk into LEGO Worlds by reusing elements here, or they could have been on a tight deadline, so they cobbled this together in record time. Who knows? Well, I am dedicating my life to finding the answer.
That was quick. Now that I have nothing left to live for, I might as well give the LEGO Movie 2 video game some credit. While it's undoubtedly the worst TT Games LEGO joint, it still leaks better than most of the other crap out there. Don't get me wrong, it's not good. But what's its competition? Quality family-friendly multi-platform games can be hard to come by sometimes. So why risk it all on Temptations when you can just pick up a LEGO game? And that's what I've been saying since the beginning. These things are the gold standard for virtual family fun. They're some of the safest purchases you can make, no-brainers. You know exactly what you're gonna get. Which is what makes the LEGO Movie 2 game fascist. While it's easy to belittle these games for being overly similar to one another, I actually think that's one of their strengths. First off, you are not meant to play each of these one after another. You're meant to pick up the ones based on the properties you're interested in when you're in the mood. Kind of like actual LEGO sets. Like, could you imagine putting together every LEGO set they put out? Sure, they're all different, but LEGO is LEGO. It's like saying every snowflake is unique. Bullshit. They're all white. But in the end, I wouldn't call these games the same. Rather, interchangeable. Calling them the same honestly is a disservice to how much TT Games pumped into each and every one. It baffles me how they are able to put out 1 to 3 of these a year while continually pushing things forward with bigger levels, better graphics, open worlds, original storylines, new mechanics, level creators, more playable characters. Fucking Madden can't even change the year. Now that doesn't mean going through all these games wasn't absolutely demoralizing. Every time I see one of these from here on out, I'm gonna But this journey gave me a newfound respect, admiration, and love for these games. I used to not get these things whatsoever. I thought they were slow, clunky, glitchy, frustrating, confusing at times. And while it's also the case, I finally got the LEGO formula. I just needed some time. I needed to grow up to fully understand these things, and yeah, I grew up. I'm 8 now. These are such comforting games with a ton to them. They're simple, but not too simple, giving you a straightforward, good experience. They're fun to just get lost in for a few hours, collecting everything you can, exploring the worlds, unlocking all sorts of trinkets. There's a certain childlike wonder I experience with these things, just discovering all of these secrets, entering bonus levels, seeing all these deep-cut references. These are special. It took me a while to see that, and it also took permanent brain damage too. See, after playing all these games, if I just tap my head a little bit, nose starts bleeding. But I finally enjoy LEGO games. You can tell because I never want to play another goddamn one of them in my life. Turns out I'm a masochist.
E3 2019. Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga was announced, a brand new Lego Star Wars experience covering all 9 Star Wars movies releasing in 2020. That is one weird-ass way to say 2022. Multiple delays occurred here. Years went by without any major new Lego game. This was unprecedented, unhealthy. So much so, the stock market declined. Yep, yeah, this is why. I guess DT Games bit off more than they could chew here. I mean, 9 movies makes this about 3 times bigger than most movie-based games they've made. So if any game was gonna throw them off the rhythm, it was this one. Plus, they were using this brand new engine of theirs, and the game itself was the biggest leap forward for Lego games we had ever seen. Nearly everything had been redesigned from the ground up. New combat mechanics, a new camera setup, deeper gameplay systems, incredible graphics, and even more content than any Lego game had before. Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga was the most ambitious game they ever conceived. It takes a lot of guts to commit to a project like this, and even more guts to actually deliver on it. Wow, that is a lot of gore. Yeah, even after such a tumultuous development period, the Skywalker Saga reviewed and sold so well. This was like the definitive Lego game. I thought it was an incredible achievement and celebration of the Lego series, pushing it forward by honoring its past. An unbelievably high quality product.
It's great at everything! Especially being a disappointment.
You know, when I first saw Skywalker Saga, I thought it was an amazing package, and even when I wasn't really that into the Lego games, I still respected the hell out of it, as it seemed like the ultimate love letter to Lego Star Wars. However, now that I'm more privy to what made this franchise so beloved to begin with, I now see a game that's the ultimate love letter to Star Wars, not Lego Star Wars. This is jam-packed with everything but fun level designs. You know, it's like they spent all their time on making the menus cute, and then they went, oh fuck, there needs to be something in them? That's a bit harsh, because playing through this, I wouldn't call it bad, but compared to something like the complete saga, or hell, even Force Awakens, these levels have so much filler to them, and they're still so short. Now, they look more impressive and engaging, but so many of them boil down to just following characters, going to waypoints, not doing anything of note, really. It's like they used this camera angle, and all of a sudden they had to mimic the worst parts of every modern third-person over-the-shoulder action-adventure game because of it. And honestly, the over-the-shoulder view, while it looks bolder, it lacks the identity of previous Lego games. Now, it just feels like any other video game. But hey, they didn't forget their roots here, because Mumble Mode is a feature, removing the dialogue and bringing us back to the classic style we all love.
I hate the classic style I love.
This is honestly pathetic. I mean, props to them for implementing this. It shows they really have listened to fan feedback, and they do care. But this is nothing like the classic Lego cutscenes. Look at Lego Star Wars 2. The cutscene is designed around the fact the characters don't speak, so they have to mime jokes and convey what's going on without dialogue. Here, Mumble Mode just dubs over cutscenes created with dialogue in mind, so it's just complete nonsense. It's like if you're playing a Lego game with voice acting and you wish it were like the older titles, well, just mute the TV. There, problem solved. That's Mumble Mode. It's a cute concept, but there's no value to it whatsoever outside of it being a nice sentiment towards fans on the surface. And this is the kind of stuff that leaves me conflicted with this one here. I can't understate how polished and well-crafted this experience is. You can tell the developers are so damn talented and poured oodles of love and care into this. And they made a good game. It's just not much of a Lego game to me. What I've come to really enjoy about these titles isn't really the focus here. They wanted to lean into things that are a big deal in other games, like deeper combat, and I'm like, this doesn't matter at all. I appreciate them trying to change things up, but I'm not going to this for good combat mechanics. It's like they're trying to be something they aren't. And I think covering 9 movies really forced them to cut some corners with the levels here. Like they just had to go bigger and bigger and bigger with everything that I kind of lost focus. Yes, this is an impressive package, but it's not as good as the third-person action games they're trying to go toe-to-toe with, and it's a lame-ass Lego game, so jack of all trades, master of none. Damn, wasn't expecting to become a Lego purist, but here we are. I'd still recommend this as a cool experience, but man, I'd say even Force Awakens was a better game. So as it turns out, you do have value after all. While Skywalker Saga was a success, its development definitely had problems. The new engine they were using just made things too complicated, numerous people left the company, and reports of crunch and mismanagement were abundant. Wait, this game had crunch? And they took 3 years to make it. What the hell kind of business were they running in like 2011? I don't think LEGO was all too happy with how this went. And while TT Games would still make LEGO games moving forward, they no longer had the exclusive rights to do so. Thus, in 2023, we got LEGO 2K Drive, picking up right where NBA 2K22 left off. What the hell is this name? Why not take out the 2K wedged in the middle? It's still dumb, but at least it's direct. LEGO Drive. Oh, yeah, it does. But LEGO 2K Drive, like, yeah, you title your sports games this, but that's usually an addition to the year. And does that give you the right to get all weird on me here? This was created by not only the developers of WWE 2K25, but 24 as well. They also developed 23 for what it's worth. And it's a LEGO kart racer. Fundamentally, our modern day equivalent to LEGO Racers, which is pretty cool. Actually takes some cues from LEGO Racers too. It's good this time. You have this giant open world to drive around in, like in LEGO Racers 2. You complete missions, take on other racers. It's neat how your LEGO vehicle quickly shifts into something else depending on if you're in the water or off-road. You can create your own car. You have items like in Mario Kart. The controls feel good. The graphics are nice. All right, this is pretty decent. What's the catch?
Well, this is my bank account.
Why is this so aggressively monetized? What is a Drive Pass? This was a full-price game with multiple versions priced even higher. And you have the gall to ask for even more money for your game? Well, I have the gall to say no. I already spent all my money on your game. Listen, this is nothing mind-blowing. It's a decent kart racer with a cute open world and like no interesting tracks, like absolutely none. They work, they do the job. There's just nothing of note or memorable about them. So I just consider this to be a decent kids game, and that's about it. So the fact this is monetized as if the player base has a crippling gambling addiction when in reality they're just starting to transition from Velcro to laces, it's just wildly inappropriate. You shouldn't be able to pick up a game like this and assume there's not going to be any funny business for the kids. Yes, LEGO games have had DLC in the past, but this takes things way too far with its own full-blown currency system. Oh, you buy coins with your money to then buy brick bucks? Why can't I just flat out buy brick bucks directly? Why do I need to buy coins first? This is a LEGO racing game, for God's sake. Why do they think it's worth such a big financial commitment? No, I mean, you can avoid all this and just play through the game normally, but man, does it leave a bad taste in my mouth. And like, the game is decent, but not decent enough to really go out of your way to play for a substantial amount of time. So in the end, I just don't really give a damn. Speaking of which, it's LEGO Fortnite, everybody. Oh, finally, Fortnite for children. This is all part of Fortnite's master plan to overthrow the government by becoming practically its own game platform. You download the game for free and have instant access to all these different experiences. Oh, hot dog. This is one of the best values in all of gaming. Sure, it doesn't cost anything other than my time, and that's priceless. Fortnite's actually become pretty impressive over the years, and the addition of LEGO Fortnite makes a lot of sense. I'm sure LEGO loves the exposure of being a part of literally the biggest thing in the world. I mean, it's like if I were involved in the Great Recession. Yeah, just happy to be included. LEGO Fortnite's main mode, Odyssey, is not actually a LEGO version of Fortnite. It's a LEGO version of Minecraft. Oh my god, LEGO Worlds 3! Then you have this other game, LEGO Fortnite Brick Life, which is kind of like Grand Theft Auto Online. If I wanted to socialize with a bunch of kids in an online game, I'd be in prison. These ain't for me, but I understand the value of them. And I think it's cool we got another LEGO adaptation of a video game franchise, which always seemed like a really fun concept. I mean, LEGO Sonic and Portal and LEGO Dimensions were super neat to see, and there's so many other legendary series that could get amazing retellings in LEGO form. So, more of this, please.
I'm my own worst fucking enemy.
LEGO Horizon Adventures, a Legofied version of PlayStation's Horizon Zero Dawn. Finally, everybody says. Everybody's the way I say nobody. Hey, now, the Horizon games are good. It's just this hit during a time in which it was pretty obvious Sony was pushing this series like mad, alright? In just 2 years, we got Horizon Forbidden West, an expansion for that game, a VR title, a remaster of Zero Dawn, PC releases, reports of multiple spin-offs being developed, a film adaptation in the works, and this Lego game. Jesus Christ! Listen, let's not act like Horizon isn't a popular franchise. But does it really deserve this much? I mean, it sells well enough, but I can point out like 1 billion games that do far better. Why are we focusing so much on Horizon? Well, listen up, because I can see right through Sony's little ploy. Horizon is their most marketable franchise. It looks realistic, unlike Ratchet & Clank or Little Big Planet, which makes it easier to turn into a big blockbuster movie or TV show, especially with how much story and lore is packed into each game. It's T-rated, which makes it easier to push onto everybody of all ages, unlike God of War or The Last of Us. It's an ongoing series, so more games are coming out, unlike Uncharted. Like, they're obviously trying to turn this into like a Star Wars level franchise. But it just feels unnatural. Like, all this for Horizon. Really? Did it earn it? Honestly, it's gotten to the point where I don't really care about this series anymore. It's just been pushed onto me so much that I'm kind of sick of it. And this is what sealed the deal. Lego Horizon Adventures feels so corporate to me. Like it's part of some master plan to make us think this game started a revolution when it's like, it was good. Calm down. We need to expose people of all ages to Horizon Zero Dawn. Let's make a Lego game to appeal to families and kids and put it out on PS5 and PC and Nintendo Switch. Yeah, they really want to get people into this franchise. They're willing to swallow their pride and put it out on some freak. Well, maybe if they really wanted to get people into this franchise, they should have made a good game. This is so boring. It's like it was made by somebody who saw a TT Games Lego title from afar and went, all right, I got the gist. Because there's really nothing to this. It's just move forward, defeat all the enemies. Please buy Horizon Forbidden West. There's not really many puzzles at all. The environments are small with little to discover in them. It's incredibly repetitive with no variety shaking things up. This is just like I'm brain dead playing this. And I don't take no pleasure in saying that. I'm only smiling because I'm brain dead playing this. I mean, visually it looks nice and all. Everything is made of Lego here. Like genuinely, the developers made sure everything on screen could be constructed out of Lego in real life. They retell Horizon Zero Dawn story with a hint of, damn it. The humor can be a bit much at times, but it's pretty charming how relentlessly goofy it is, especially considering the source material had a drug reference. And the combat is very smooth and feels decent. Which I know all of this contradicts what I'm about to do, but it had to be done.
That's it. That is every Lego game. I'm done. This is all I've ever wanted. This is all I've ever wanted. Lego the Hobbit for 3DS.
No way we couldn't go over Lego's handheld releases, which are almost all completely unique specimen. Take, for example, Lego Star Wars on the GBA. Spot the difference. I want to play that. They did their best adapting this game to the Game Boy Advance hardware. Their best is many's worst. Lego Star Wars 2 is definitely an improvement, but I can't in good conscience recommend these to anybody. What is there to gain from that? It's a lose-lose. I'm not being true to myself recommending this, and you'd be pissed playing it. They served their purpose back in the mid-2000s. I'm sure plenty of children got by on this, but even then, these versions were never really anything special. On the contrary, I gotta hand it to the DS games, man. These are really impressive. I mean, they're fully 3D and do a great job capturing the essence of the console games with limited resources. Eventually. Because the first foray on the Nintendo DS, Lego Star Wars 2, doesn't function, which puts it a hair above Lego Island 2. That game wishes it couldn't function. This is one of the glitchiest games to ever hit the market, and it deceives you at first, making you think this is about to be just like the console version. And then it decides to Lego Star Wars 2 on the DS all over the place. And just to add insult to injury, here's the PSP version. It's the console game! Sure, a couple concessions were made, but by and large, it's all here. So PSP wins the battle, but always remember DS won the war. The complete saga released on DS and surprisingly not PSP. I guess this was a mandatory apology to DS owners. This is so much better. It's actually a pretty competent handheld take on the game, which is how I describe a good chunk of these DS titles. They're well done for the most part, though they always feel a bit too slow. It just ends up getting boring a lot faster than the console games. So it's hard for me to consider these anything more than a novelty. So bring on the PSP versions. Full game on the go. You cannot beat this. The DS versions are definitely cool oddities, but tell me, how else am I gonna play Lego Indiana Jones 2 in all its glory on the go?
Are you a religious man?
Yeah, starting with this game, they just made one handheld version across all the portables from there on out. So the PSP version is the same as the DS game. Who the said thank you to that? I think the DS games are cool, but you know where they aren't cool? Not the DS. I mean, I understand why they did this. It definitely made development a lot easier. But what's impressive on DS is pretty lackluster on PSP, especially considering we were getting the actual console versions on it before. And then it got even worse with Lego Harry Potter, because now they have to factor in an iPhone version. So that's what we got here, a damn iPhone game on PSP for full price. I guess I can't blame them when they put out DS, 3DS, PSP, PlayStation Vita, and mobile versions of a game. You might as well make it easier on yourself. But you can do that by maybe just not putting out a DS version in goddamn 2013. Lego Lord of the Rings on Nintendo DS.
What do I do with that information?
Lego Marvel Superheroes Universe in Peril was the only one to have a subtitle differentiating itself from the console game. Why would they do that? Was it because they were ashamed of creating a rushed mobile game hastily ported to dedicated handhelds, ranging from one that came out in 2004 to one priding itself on producing graphics on par with a PlayStation 3? Was it? Lego Rock Band got a DS version because we're in the wrong timeline. Some of these games actually feel like genuine efforts to make something cool for handheld players, while others treat them like they're stupid. But that's been the case for decades at this point. What about the pre-Lego Star Wars era? There were handheld versions of all these games here. Lego Island 2 on Game Boy Color and Advance? That's f***ed up, man. There were 5 Bionicle games for the Game Boy Advance. The third one was called Bionicle. So was the first. Oh my god, there was Bionicle Heroes on console? That was developed by Traveler's Tales 2? Wait, what the hell is all this? Lego Builder's Journey? Brawls? Brick Tales? Forza Horizon 4's Lego expansion? All these mobile and flash games? How many MMOs did they have? What the is a Lego Cube? Lego Friends was on the DS too? Wait, the canceled Galador console game actually released on PC like 3 years after the show ended? Lego The Hobbit for 3DS.
This is what I've been missing from my life? That Hobbit isn't even a Dougal. That's it. I mean, this has got to be what insanity is, right? I just went through dozens upon dozens of games, half of which were practically the same, and the chosen one ended up being nothing special? Huh. I think I have a solid case for why I skipped jury duty. They were actually so cool. As it turns out, they proposed to form a jury duty that was far more interesting to me, where I'm the one the jury is coming to see.